My God, man, one size fits all, fee for service medicine, and drilling holes into the patient's bodies to replace internal organs with cybernetic devices? What are you, doctors or butchers? Get out of the way and let me save this patient now. Well, I'd like to thank everyone for sticking around. As you saw, I had a small online identity crisis. I'm doing quite good, and I'm not being able to say that for a while with meaning also. If you see my other videos, as said before, I think I would have a better time in the 22nd and the 23rd or the 24th century, as I remember the things in my life in this form that have had an impact on me. Star Trek was one of the major ones. It's got me through some tough times, and watching Star Trek and reading the books while I was stuck at the hospital for months at a time. It was a very good pastime compared to what these 20th century doctors consider medicine these days. I always thought that if Starfleet Medical was real and they had the futuristic medical tech and doctors like Dr. McCoy and others, McCoy was one of the best ones, an old-fashioned, no-nonsense doctor in the future with cool medical tech. He was a great believer in the body's own natural ability to heal itself and lamented how barbarous medicine was used in the past on Earth. I know, and it is barbarous, and the current medical system could do so much better, especially if I watch Star Trek. I may suffer internally as the vampire's curse with toxic blood and the damage is done, but open your eyes now and see as I stumbled through the darkness, and somewhere close in the dark I can feel I would rather live in a world of Star Trek than Underworld. But the darkness is still there and is a part of me, always. But there is also beauty and greatness in the dark. I had to learn how to be my own doctor. I was told there are no options and your life is over. And you have all these fancy names for medical issues that have to do with symptoms we think you have. They did not say why, other than it's genetic. That's a cop-out easy answer for, I don't know. Then why am I paying? Then what am I paying you for? Is it your goal to reverse as much damage as possible that your so-called medicine caused? Well, today I can say they're all fired for incompetence. Most of the time their goal is the status quo. And how much money can we suck out of you before you die? I recently found some real doctors that have given me options, and a lot of options, and some clues of why the damage was caused and just how permanent some of the damage is. Just as I step outside the mainstream society, and so are my choices of doctors and their advice. A real doctor, you would think about all the factors in the systems, but no, they don't. Most are under the idea that you have to meet some homeostasis model to fit their chart that they've been given and they think is right. They also accept all the government and the medical insurance payouts and all this money and buy into the system of, oh, I think it's a good idea for me to shoot directly into the patient's bloodstream aluminum, foreign DNA, formaldehyde, MSG, foreign proteins, preservatives, and mercury. It is the so-called medical treatment given to the mother and to the child. I know, let's shock the immune system and have an autoimmune response. That sounds great, so we can make more money on your autoimmune disease. Most don't seem to understand also that what they do with the mother also passes on to the baby. There are many other factors, environments, health and mood states of the parents, diet and activity while creating and carrying the child, and there's much more that could take several videos to break down. It is time I start using the skills that I've learned by having to be my own doctor, and I don't care if you say, oh, you didn't go pass some test or pass years of school. Well, I went to life school, and my life was the patient. And if the patient had to be his own doctor, you pick up a few things. These doctors failed at their job, and I had to do almost everything myself to stay away from them. I also could have been a real doctor in the considered mainstream, or get the proper training and go through all the hassle and going through initiation, becoming a doctor in title. But that's just a title. It doesn't mean anything if you don't practice real medicine. But I will never know what I could have been in this physical world, because my life in physiology was altered by doctors, environment, and my parents while I was being created and birthed from my mother's womb. These doctors also left me in a state where I have to perform minor surgery on myself every several days and replace a cyborg implant that simulates one of my internal organs. It is time that doctors start listening to the patients. From my experiences, I have knowledge that most mainstream doctors can't even comprehend, and by having to search for alternative options. You know, your white coat does not make you a god. It makes you a professional drug pusher. Here's a joke that I heard. What does an MD mean as an acronym? It means you're going to see a more drug doctor. If I must still live and sustain this humanoid physical form as I go experience drastic changes, as I can be the goth or the vampire Victor and go through changes of emotions in moments that go from feeling good to feeling bad. Well, let it be in the world of Star Trek, because that's what I hope to see, and I do see in my mind. Is this what life is? I've seen the moment in this, what life deserves in this form. Open your eyes to see the future.